Okay, this is day 2 of public speaking.
Yep.
Let's start with some icebreakers, because there's more of us here today. First one, if you could create a national holiday, what would it be called and how would we celebrate it?
Can I go first?
Sure, go ahead.
If I could create a national holiday, I would name it Fortnite Day. Yeah. And we would celebrate it by playing Fortnite.
Sounds awesome. We can do that every day though, right?
Yeah.
You can
Nice.
give gifts every day, but that doesn't make it Christmas.
That's true. That's true. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll go. National Nap Day. So like everyone in the middle of the day gets to take a nap.
I like that. I may already do that. Yeah, okay. Go next.
What?
Tell us about a holiday that you would create and how
Oh,
would
I'll create National Leaf Day,
leaf?
where you celebrate leaves.
Okay. What's your favorite kind of leaf?
I haven't picked a favorite. I don't know what's my favorite.
Do you have a favorite tree?
Mm, an acorn tree.
All right, thanks for sharing. And then Neil,
I'll create National Fortnite Day too.
you would also create National Fortnite Day?
Yeah.
Man, lots of Fortnite love. Okay, I see. Okay, this one's interesting. Tell us a lie about yourself, but try to convince us that it's true. Let's see how well you guys can bluff. We can go in the same order. So Dhruvan, you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. I have the Xbox and I play Fortnite on it.
That's a lie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably
That
just
would be
doesn't have an
fun.
Xbox. Yeah, there you go. I'm not sure if I should teach people how to lie, but that's one of the if you're lying about something, that's a good way to lie about it is include details that are true about yourself when you're lying. So like if I'm ever out somewhere where I'm not supposed to be, you can say that, oh, you're at the gym, right? Because that's a place that plausibly you would have been. So that's smart. That's a good that's pretty believable. Good job.
Okay, Tejasvi, you go next.
I love the library because like it has so many books, you know? And like you can read and like get all this information from it. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it's hard to tell with you because your voice is so monotonous.
Dude.
I can't tell if you're but I guess that's good. It's a good trait to have. Okay. Advik, you can go next.
I'm at the beach because I'm literally at the beach. You can see
I can see that.
back of me. It's the beach with moving water, so that proves it's not a background, and also has moving trees.
Nice. Okay. Neil, finally you.
Uh, my parents are billionaires.
I feel everyone is pretty good at lying, so let's just skip this one. Okay, I guess that's enough icebreakers. We can start with the actual content now. So today, I think last class, for those of you who missed it, we went over the basic structure of an argument or things that you're trying to say, but today we'll go more deeply into that. So the first part is a hook. How do you hook an audience? Last time we explored questions. I know Tejasvi and Dhruvan, we were kind of formulating the hooks for your final speech, and you both chose questions because they piqued the audience's interest. So that's one way. Another way you could tell is a story. So if you have any personal relations, you can share anecdotes or anything like that. Sometimes people start with quotes. I mean, I don't really like to because I like to start with things that are original, but it's up to you. Shocking facts could also be a good hook because they appeal to the emotions of the audience. And scenes setting is also good because you create that imagery in the audience's mind so that they're attached and they're listening to you from the beginning. So now let's do some practice for hooks. I want you each to choose a topic. It can be one of these or you can create your own and then see if you can create a unique hook for it using some of the strategies from the previous page.
So again, if you weren't here yesterday, the main purpose of the hook is, I think, sliding. I'm so sorry. The main purpose of a hook is to take your audience has a wide range of thoughts and knowledge, and they aren't as experienced or knowledgeable about your topic as you are. So you're trying to take that wide range and then funnel it down into your topic. So go from something that's super relatable and connects to a lot of people and try to funnel that in. Like in the instance of like pineapple, an instance of pineapple on pizza, you can try describing the flavor, and that's like that appeals to the senses, that gets people's attention, or talk about, really good combos with each other if you're pro pineapple on pizza, and be like listing out combos that people might know that people might know of that are really iconic, and then you can flow into your thoughts more easily on pineapple on pizza.
All right. Dhruvan, you want to go first?
Okay. What would you think if I had $1 million? Would you think that would be cool or awesome or nice?
So that's a good hook. You chose to do the question. Does anyone have any improvements for him? Anything you would do differently? You can just speak up, it's okay. Okay. Tejasvi, you can go next.
Can something as simple as cereal be classified as a type of soup?
So that's another question. That was good. For the next person, try to do something that's not a question.
If you can. If the question is all you have prepared, that's also okay.
Yeah. Advik.
Okay. So, if you could invent something new, what would it be?
And then Neil.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Yep, so those are all great hooks.
Those are all things that will get your audience thinking about the topic and sort of flow more smoothly than just abruptly going up to it. So it's sort of like exercising, it's sort of like having a conversation with somebody. You don't just go up to somebody and start talking. You say hi, what's up? You talk about like, hey, you have a nice watch. Where did you get your watch from? Or I like your outfit. Something like that gets you in the door. In the same way, like you don't just immediately start lifting the heaviest weight you can. You warm up first, or you don't immediately start running. You stretch, you warm up a little bit, and then you get into it. So it's really important that we practice warming up in speaking to, by having a hook, so that your audience is mentally flowing from wherever they were before to wherever you need them to be, which is paying attention to your speech. So if I was to do an example of, like, let's say for the invention prompt, I'd say, think of all the inventions that have improved your life: medicine, lights, electricity, cars, trains, everything that makes your life just a little bit easier. Can be as simple as a can opener and as complicated as a plane or video chat. All of these things have revolutionized the way that we think and go about life. And if I could invent something, then I would go into whatever I wanted to invent. But you see how it went from very relatable things that to whatever I was going to talk about, and it didn't feel like a massive jump. That is the reason that you have a hook when you speak. That's the reason that you get people's attention. It can be humorous, it can be serious, it can make the person think. All it has to do is change up whatever mental pattern they had when they were thinking into a pattern that's more suited for your topic. That's all it is. So if you're like actually like literally building the physical body of your speech, this is where how knowledgeable you are really comes into it. So if you're good at essay writing or you're more passionate about a topic, this is where you stand to benefit the most from your pre-existing skills. So you want to have 2 or 3 main points that are clear and memorable in your head. Like, these things and you're not going to mess up at them. It doesn't mean that it has to be memorized. It just means that you need to know that these points are things that you're comfortable talking about and elaborating on. Because a lot of times when you're speaking, you're not going to have everything memorized. And if I was teaching you guys with the assumption that you had everything memorized that you were going to say, we would be doing different things right now. And make sure that you're adding details, stories, facts, examples, things that strengthen your point, make it more believable. And also, you don't want to just, and when you go between your points, you want to have transitions that help flow the whole thing together. That just means that you don't want to say one thing, then say another, then say another. Like, pineapple belongs on pizza because the flavors contrast each other well. It is a cool combination and it looks aesthetically pleasing. I just listed off 3 points right there, but I didn't elaborate or really flow well between them. So that made it more like I'm just spitting information at you rather than I'm speaking and I'm guiding you through it. Diwali, you should get this one.
Okay. And then the final part will be the conclusion. So this is not as important as the other two, but I think having a strong conclusion can leave a good imprint on your audience's mind. You want to make sure that you reinforce the main message of whatever you're trying to argue. And then you could also end with a call to action or a memorable closing line. So a call to action is where you're telling the audience to go do something, so that whatever your speech, whatever you were trying to persuade them to do, they're kind of left with that last thing, so that your message is still sticking in their mind. And then you could also end with a quote or a question. Again, these are just going to make your message linger in their mind.
Okay, this is very difficult stuff to get down properly. And this is actually the biggest part of rehearsing a speech. If you're ever giving a prepared speech, when you rehearse it, these are the things that you're going to look at. So your body language, your hand movements, especially important, your eye contact. Oh, its hand movements are listed in there, but I was going to mention them either way. And then your voice. So one of the really important things is however you're sitting right now. There's a comfortable, natural position to sit, and then there's a way that you should be sitting. So all of you guys, you should do this with me, is like physically sit up in your chair. Like literally take the time to sit up in your chair and be outward and present, and then take a deep breath as deep as you can. Like, I actually want you to do this. Hold it for a bit and then just let go. You want to relax your vocal cords so that your voice isn't strained, and make sure you're breathing regularly through when you're speaking. Yeah? Were you going to say something? Oh, okay. So those things matter a lot. Making sure that your body is relaxed, your shoulders, they tell you to go up, back, and then down. And then you sort of have like an outward chest. You have air coming out of the right spot. It's not coming from up here or way down here. It's coming from right in that middle section where it sounds good. And then you want to make eye contact when you're speaking to a bunch of people or speaking on the phone. It's pretty difficult. I don't actually know if I'm looking at you properly. I'm trying to look at the camera, but it's harder on video calls. So if you have an audience or a small group of people that you're speaking to, make sure that you're sort of scanning across the crowd. Don't fixate on one position because that looks really awkward. Feel free to tilt your head. And if you're speaking to one person specifically, make sure you look at them and that you're directing everything you're speaking towards them. The hands, the biggest tip I can give you with the hands is that most of your motions with your hands need to stay within the box. The box is sort of this area from your shoulders, sort of like down here. So about 1 or 2 hands width of where you want to keep your hands from going. If you're way out here like this, it's really distracting and doesn't look good. And if you're really like sort of compressed into yourself, it doesn't look good. When you're making a point that's really important, feel free to sort of broaden out where your hands are and go outside of the box when you're trying to make a point, but stay inside the box for a majority of the things you're trying to say. You can go to the next slide.
I just had a quick video for hand
Yeah,
gestures.
and you see the lady in the video, she already put the same thing that I was about to tell it, like I told y'all, with you keep your hands in a certain sphere. You don't want to let them like range widely out of there. You can play the video, but one of the, like, this is going to be a little more detailed in if your hands are like this, you're asking for support, because whenever there's like a very common human nature of holding your palm out like outward, that's a sign of asking for help. This is a sign of stop, and this is very like demanding or sort of imposing. So those hand motions all have a certain meaning, and you want to use them carefully. If I was trying to be very serious about a point, I wouldn't ask like this. And if I was asking for like financial help, or I was asking for people to support my idea or anything like that, I wouldn't be very demanding with either my hand motions or the way that my voice was modulated.
If you're starting out as a speaker,
Can you guys
it's
hear it?
not uncommon to do
Yeah.
something subconsciously distracting with your hands. That's why it's so important to practice in front of an audience and get feedback. Or, at the very least, video yourself. I guarantee that in watching yourself back, something will surprise you. Hand gestures should support your presentation, not distract from it. Allow your hands to move naturally by keeping them unrestricted from things like pockets and notes. It also pays to be conscious of unnatural hand positions like Superman, the fig leaf, the groomsman, unimpressed, bored, or the chorister. As a default hand position, what generally works well is holding your hands loosely in front of you with your elbows roughly at 90 degrees. Or just place your hands by your sides, whatever feels most natural. And from there, you can gesture. Aim to use open palmed gestures because this conveys openness and honesty. Like eye contact, you can also use gestures to create certain effects. Firstly, there's emphatic gesturing, which involves using a finger or hand to reinforce a point. Descriptive gestures help clarify what you mean. For example, the interview process went on and on and on. Suggestive gestures present a thought, idea, or emotion. For example, I had no idea. Prompting gestures are used to get a response from your audience. If I'm looking for an answer, I might ask my audience. Gestures can also be used to signpost. You will often see speakers listing off their key points by going 1, 2, 3. Lastly, don't be apologetic about gesturing. Nervous speakers will hold their hands directly in front of themselves and use small gestures. This not only looks incredibly awkward, but it has limited impact. Experienced speakers will pivot their arms from their elbows and use their hands to take up more space. This not only looks more relaxed and natural, but it's much more engaging for your audience. When hand gestures are done well, you'll find they tend to blend in with what the speaker is saying, so that as an audience, you don't even really notice them.
Man, she spoke really slow.
Yeah, that's one of the things is obviously I think this might be targeted at people that don't speak English as well, which is something you'll notice if you ever look up tutorials or anything like that when it comes to speaking, because a lot of people English is their second language and it's a little easier if they slow the pace down. But remember that taking pauses is the single best thing that you can do for yourself to make your voice fluid and clear and not stutter over your words. So even if that lady seemed a little bit slow, notice how she never made any mistakes and was really fluid with all of her speech. So maybe don't be that slow. It can be a little bit monotonous to go through, but remember that taking pauses is absolutely a good thing and not something to be ashamed of or feel bad about. It's much better than using a filler word.
Yep. Okay, so now let's do some practice. So each of you are going to tell us a story, can make it up or whatever. But you're going to use some kind of delivery tool, whether it be hand gestures, your facial expressions, your voice modulating, meaning your pitch will go up and down. Try to make it engaging. So why don't we go with Dhruvan? Tell us a story.
Yeah. I'll go first. So I think that I found a headphone. I think that maybe we should wear them. I don't know if we can wear them or not. I'm not sure if they're ours. But I think we should return it to the owner. The end.
I think you did a great job with the hand gestures. They made me feel,
They were more engaging.
yeah.
They added more to the speech because you felt confident with using them. And a lot of the times it's breaking out of that sort of weird feeling of, am I doing too much with my hands? You know what I mean? You'll feel a little bit awkward because initially it's conscious, but eventually it'll become something that's natural and you're just going to feel cool doing it every single time. Like me, I don't have to think about how I'm moving my hands whenever I speak. I just always do it. So it'll add a lot even to your everyday conversations if you just get out of that initial barrier of feeling really uncomfortable and then go on to go through it with full confidence.
Okay, Tejasvi, you can go next.
Okay. In 5th grade, I broke my pencil during a really big test and I panicked. I didn't have a sharpener, I didn't have a backup, I couldn't even ask the teacher because we couldn't even talk. And I thought I was doomed, but I wasn't because the kid next to me, he slid over a pencil that he got from his bag and he didn't say a word because then we would have gone in trouble. But that tiny act, I still remember it. So small gestures can make a really big impact. That's it.
I think you did a good job with you had hand gestures, but you also had a resting position where it was kind of like a steeple. Usually you don't want to stay there too much, but I think you did a good job making it flow naturally. And then you also used your fingers to point out your different items. That was good for listing, like that lady said. So good job. Okay, Advik, your turn.
Okay, wait. I just need to remove this background. Okay, so my English teacher asked me to write 2 essays. So I decided to use an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and the conclusion. First, I started writing my introduction, then my 3 body paragraphs, and then my conclusion. Okay, that's my story.
Just feel confident with continuing to move around those hands. And also, biggest thing is to make your hand motions look natural is don't lock up your shoulders. I'm not saying that you were doing this, but just in general, if you lock up your shoulders, it feels really awkward and really weird. So keeping your shoulders more loose and letting yourself relax overall is one of the biggest things that'll help you. A lot of the times you're sort of beating yourself twice, not only with the task, but you're beating yourself with the nervousness that you have surrounding the task. So people will tend to constrict their vocal cords a little bit because they're anxious, speak too fast, not breathe, and kind of lock up their entire body posture instead of letting things flow smoothly.
Okay.
Okay, Neil, go ahead.
So basically, when I was doing tennis tryouts for 7th grade athletics, I thought it was doomed because A means you did bad and B means you did good, and I got A twice. But when we were doing draw feeds, I somehow got a B, so I managed to make the team.
Any comments? I think that was pretty good. Your hand
Yeah.
gestures seem natural to me. See if you could add a little more modulation in your voice. Change up your pitch.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that you guys will struggle with, which it's natural to struggle with, and it's good to struggle with it. Making mistakes is good, is not keeping your voice in that sort of really flat staccato kind of way, because you want to speed up at certain occasions and you want to slow down at certain occasions just to keep things interesting. And there'll be like a natural flow that you'll sort of discover over time. Like you give me a random Wikipedia article or something like that to read, I can make my voice not sound like text to speech. You want to avoid sounding like text to speech where every word is pronounced the same way. That's what you really want to avoid when it feels flat. You want things to have ups and you want things to have downs instead of just being on this one sort of very parallel line across what you're speaking.
Okay, so for this next one, I have a short clip from Kennedy's speech that we looked at yesterday. I want you guys to tell me after the video some strategies that you think made this speech successful and impactful. It's only about a minute long.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too.
Okay.
So even if he had a bit of a different voice, like we're not really used to that accent living in the time that we do. He has a transatlantic accent. He drops R's and things like that. he has a very not flat way of speaking. The one thing that you will notice is that he is up and down and up and down. Like we choose to do these things not because they're easy, but because they are hard. He doesn't stay in one place ever, and he stresses certain things, which really makes them pop out more. Notice how there's sort of a flow with his body too. He's not stiff physically trying to make things pop vocally because your voice and your body are connected. You can't separate the two things. If you sit and talk like a robot, you're going to sound like one too, which is why I recommend trying to move around your shoulders a little bit too and keep them loose because that's where you'll get a lot of that vocal inflection from. You'll get the vocal inflection from also having physical movement and looseness in your body. And the more that you feel comfortable with yourself and comfortable speaking, the more loose and natural you'll appear in front of an audience.
Did you guys see anything else that made it stand out?
I feel like when he kept repeating, like we choose to go to the moon, like he repeated it 3 times. I felt like that gave it, I wouldn't really say emotion. I don't know how to describe it, but it gave a powerful message by saying like not because it's easy, but because it's hard. And also when he kept taking like pauses, felt like it made it more powerful.
Taking pauses is good because it lets the audience think about what you just said. If somebody just speaks continuously, you're not really going to register what they said more than if they, took pauses. So, yeah, definitely. Anyone else? Durvin, did you notice anything? Anything with his hands?
Yes, I know, like he kept on doing this because because he was like making it more powerful. That's what I felt. Because he was engaging more audiences.
Yes, definitely. That pointing finger places an emphasis on what he's trying to say. Yep.
But why some say the
Okay, so this next one kind of segues into persuasive techniques. So just like Tejasvi was saying, the first one, repetition. Kennedy kept saying, "We choose." He said it 3 times, and 3 is kind of like that magical number. I don't know why, but it is. And then the contrast, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. So that gets the audience to think about both sides. Alliteration is also important. So when you're saying things, obviously you don't plan to speak alliteration, but if you're writing a speech, then you can include it. Same with similes. They might come naturally to you, but it's okay if they don't. Inclusive language will make the audience feel like they're one of you. So it makes them feel like they're in it with you, and so they feel more connected to whatever you're trying to say. And then elevated or exaggerated language is also important because it's just emphasizing whatever the speaker is trying to say. So for example, in Kennedy's speech, he says, "The most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked." So that has a lot of big words. So he's trying to convey the importance of the mission.
The inclusive language is a big one. You want to try to get the audience involved as much as you can. It always helps if the person who's listening feels like they're connected to whatever you're saying. And also try to balance the line between using big words and not having it sound super wordy. Eliminate the fluff and keep what adds strong flavor to your speech. One of the biggest recommendations is read a lot of poetry. If you read a lot of poetry, you start seeing people use figurative language and really playing around with language in a way that's interesting that you can bring over to your speech. Because the line between a performance and a speech is actually very blurry. It's not this super set thing. You'll look at a lot of good speeches that people give at speech events or even good speakers in front of audiences, and you'll sort of see that a lot of the things that they're doing seem sort of like acting or a little performative, and it's good that they are because that really adds to what they're saying. Some of these lines that Kennedy was giving sound like they come out of a poem. There's nothing wrong with that. The way that he moves his body was very like it's very theatrical in a way. So feel free to add a lot of flair into it and read poetry. That's one of the best ways you can just get better at the English language in general. It'll be useful for SAT or whatever else that you have to study for. That's one of the recommendations that I have. It'll broaden your vocabulary, help you use language in more interesting ways, and just it's also genuinely just fun to do on your own. You should do that. So that's another recommendation I have.
Okay, so using those techniques that we just went over, see if you can pick a fun topic, one of these or one of your choice, and create a bold sentence using at least one of those techniques. We'll give you some time to think.
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Summer break should be longer because it gives you more time to take rest. Well, it gives us more time to take rest, and it gives everyone, including us, like we get more time to sleep, we get more time to rest, we get more time to we get more time to have more fun, because all of those stuff make your brain more fresher, and you can have more fun with your friends, because if you have fun with your friends sometimes, that can help you, that can help your body in your for your health. Well, it can help your health. That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
I think you did a great job with using us, so inclusive language. I saw that. You also kept repeating we get, so that was good, the repetition, so that the audience understands that there's a lot of benefits. The only thing that I would say is you kept using because to kind of transition between your points. See if instead you can break and you can even pause, like that's totally okay, so that it doesn't seem like you're rambling on. Because all your points were valid, except it seemed like you were just speaking and speaking and speaking. So if you paused, the audience will have more time to think about what you're trying to say, and then it'll stick with them more. You want to try it
Yeah.
again?
Just try to avoid using the same word over and over again. I'll try to I try to deviate away from it as much as I can too, but it's obviously really natural to sit there and use the word that you're comfortable with. Part of that comes with reading, part of that comes with exploring and trying to learn as much vocabulary as you can, expanding your lexicon, that type of deal. Just make sure that you don't say the same thing so much that the audience starts to pick up on it and they're like, that guy, he's saying because a lot. You know what I mean? Just avoid that.
So summer break should be longer because we'll get more time to sleep, we'll get more time to play, which strengthens your body, and we get more time to like we got more time to stay in the house or do outdoor activities, and that also helps because you can get your brain stronger by taking rests, and you can mentally become better at whatever you're doing, and 3 months isn't even that long. So yeah, that's my point.
That was much better.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Tejasvi, why don't you go next?
Okay. If we truly care about students' mental health, family time, and real-world learning, then it's time we stop rushing and we start making summer break longer.
Good. And what techniques did you use there?
Repetition, not repetition, like what is it called?
Inclusive language?
That one.
Mhm.
And then, I don't know.
You also did a good job using your hands. I noticed.
Yeah, that was a lot better. And also the intonation was a real improvement.
Good job. Okay, Advik, go ahead.
Okay. Nothing is actually not doing nothing is actually productive because if you do nothing, then you think more. Then if you think more, then you think smarter. Then if you think smarter, you get a lot of A pluses. And when you get a lot of A pluses, you have a good future. And if you have a good future, you get a good job. Then if you get a good job, you get a lot of money. Then if you get a lot of money, then you can buy a lot of food and a good house. Then if you have all of those, then you'll get a good life. And if you have a good life, then you basically have a good life. So that's why doing nothing is actually productive.
Good. And which strategies did you use?
I used pauses.
Mm-hmm. Did you use any persuasive techniques?
Yeah, by adding adding the words good future.
So you used the impactful language, yes. I think you also did a good job with the line of reasoning. In my opinion, it went a little too far. I think you could have stopped with a couple less, but that's also a strategy to get your audience to think about what comes next.
Okay.
Okay, Neil.
Summer break should be longer because you get more time to relax off because you just did a full 4 semesters of study.
Good. And what technique did you use?
I use a little pauses.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what we have next. Oh, another activity. This one seems fun. Persuade us. Select a random object, and then in 1 minute, try to convince the class that it's the most valuable thing ever. Whatever you got around. Yeah, Dhruvan, go for it.
So a banana is so valuable because if you eat it, your health gets better, and it won't and like you won't get any acid. You won't get any acid, like you won't get so you won't be at risk of getting I don't know what it was. Acidic. Well, you'll get like an acidic disease, and
Reflex.
like you won't be at risk of that, and you'll get like you'll get a lot stronger. Well, not a lot stronger, but stronger, and you can probably sell it in stores to get money. So yeah, that's my point.
Rayhan, you got any feedback?
No, not really. You guys are doing a good job using the strategies that you guys have been taught. A lot of it is just practice. Like the more you speak, the more comfortable you'll get with these things. And it's really good that you guys are making mistakes. Even if you feel awkward doing it, keep at it. The more mistakes you make, that's when you're actually getting better at what you're doing.
Yep. Okay. Tejasvi, you can go next.
Okay, I have a pencil. Okay.
Mhm.
This pencil may look small and simple, but it can be used for so many things, like writing ideas, solving problems, and even erasing mistakes. This is proof that even the smallest tools can be used to shape our big futures.
Yeah, that was really solid. I like the hand motion. You've started to get comfortable using the one where you're counting, which is good. So now that you have that, now try to do different things in with your hands, because you don't want to just build one or two and then stick to them a lot, because then it'll seem repetitive. But it's good that you're starting to get comfortable with this one. So now try to do more. You'll do it a few times and then you'll start feel comfortable with those too.
And I also liked how the concluding statement used a contrast. Okay, Advik.
Okay, so rock would be the most valuable thing because, like, some rocks, they have crystals in them. And you could also find some gold, diamonds, and other stuff that are valuable in rocks. And if you sell all of those, then you could get fruits and vegetables, and you could get other things that you need for life.
Yeah, I think that was great.
Yeah. Feel free to take a quick pause so that you can avoid using the filler words. You had a few likes and stuff in there, which is okay. Just make sure that you feel comfortable taking pauses so you do avoid them.
Okay.
And Neil.
I think bananas are the most valuable thing because they can help you get strong. They can prevent acid reflux. They can give you a bunch of iron, and yeah.
One thing I will say for you, when you think your eyes look up, see if you can keep them looking at us. It's pretty natural because when you're thinking, you're kind of scanning the room, trying to think about what you're gonna say. So I think it'll just come with practice. But other than that, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like we have 9 minutes left. So here I have I have a dream speech. I'll kind of pause minute by minute and then we can discuss some things that he does to make his
Yeah.
speech impactful.
Mhm.
Dream that one day this nation will live free. We hold truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood? I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream.
So already, what do you see that he's doing?
He's using repetition, always saying, I have a dream, I have a dream.
And what impact
Yeah.
does that make?
I think he's using pauses to really make an impact on everyone that is there. And people that feel judged by their skin color are not really judged anymore. They
Right?
feel not judged by the speech that Martin Luther King just spoke. That's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel
Advik,
like
I saw. Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like he's like not accenting, but giving,
Emphasizing.
huh?
Emphasizing.
Yeah, emphasizing some of the words so that it sticks in the audience's like head or like their heart and they like feel it all together as one, I guess.
Advik, did you see anything?
I saw that he was using like powerful words that make us, that convince us to like be on his side.
Yep.
Notice the special thing that you have to notice with that speech is how much his voice goes up into really high ranges. Obviously, some of that is with how the footage has been translated from being on film to being digitized now. But really, he gets high up there and he's up in that range that's really, really strained and impassioned and loud that makes sense for what he's saying. So try to remember that when you're making a point that's very important, it's good to try to go to the outer extremes of what your voice can do to really get it across. He's a very high up, he's very impassioned, he's projecting his voice outward loudly, and he's up at the highest part of his vocal register that he can get to. All of that stuff leaves a big impression on you as the listener.
This must become true. So let freedom reign. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom reign. From the mountains of New York, let freedom reign.
Yeah. I think repetition was really emphasized in that one. And so was the part when he was talking about they're all together. He kept using the inclusive language, which is pretty important, especially in this context.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like it's 7:29.
Yep. Good work today. Come back again tomorrow at 6:30 and we'll get more done. All right.